Imagine you're trapped in a castle perched on the edge of a high coastal cliff, surrounded by a raging sea that cuts off every chance of escape. This isn't just a story, it's the true survival tale of Dunnottar Castle in Scotland in the 16th century, where the fortress turned into a terrifying prison. In the 16th century, Europe was a landscape of intense political and religious tensions, with Britain and Scotland in constant turmoil. Amidst this unrest lies a shocking story of survival, centered at Dunnottar Castle, an ancient coastal fortress situated on a towering cliff overlooking the sea in northeast Scotland. During this period, the castle was transformed into a brutal prison for political and religious prisoners, who faced a harrowing test of survival. In the 1550s, religious tensions in Scotland were at their peak, with the country deeply divided between Catholics and Protestants. Some noble families aligned with the Catholic Church, while others desired freedom from strict traditions and wanted to join the Protestant Reformation. In this context, the authorities sought to suppress any opposition that threatened the status quo, resulting in the imprisonment of individuals supportive of reformist movements. Scottish authorities arrested a group of dissenters, most of whom were Protestants who refused to adhere to the official Catholic Church. They were sent to Dunnottar Castle, a fortress built on an almost inaccessible coastal cliff surrounded by the sea on three sides, making escape nearly impossible. The fortress was an impenetrable stronghold, but it also turned into a terrifying prison for this group of men and women. Inside the castle, the prisoners were confined in a place known as the Black Vault, a cramped, dark dungeon beneath the castle with poor ventilation and a severe lack of oxygen. The interior temperatures were freezing due to the proximity to the sea, and the intense humidity made staying there unbearable. With no windows to allow light in, the prisoners relied solely on their inner senses to gauge the passing of time. The prisoners received minimal water and food, which they had to share amongst themselves to survive. Sometimes rations consisted of dry bread and salt water, portions so meager that they barely kept them alive. The prisoners depended on each other for emotional support, exchanging stories and singing religious hymns to try to maintain their spirits in such dire conditions. As days passed, exhaustion began to take its toll on their bodies, turning survival into a true battle against hunger and thirst. During their imprisonment, the prisoners had no means of communicating with the outside world or any knowledge of their fate, but they never lost all hope. Some even attempted to escape, trying to use simple tools to dig into the stone walls or find a way to reach the outer cliffs. However, the fortress was fortified in a way that made escape impossible. Eventually, political pressures mounted, forcing the authorities to release the prisoners due to shifting political dynamics. After months of imprisonment and suffering, the prisoners were finally set free, though not without bearing the scars of their ordeal on their bodies and souls. They emerged exhausted, yet they had survived, later becoming symbols of resilience against oppression and cruelty. Today, as tourists visit Dunnottar Castle, they try to imagine themselves in the place of those prisoners and feel the awe of those dark moments. The harsh survival journey endured by the prisoners at Dunnottar has transformed into a legend, bearing witness to the strength of the human spirit in the face of life's toughest challenges. If you liked the video, don't forget to follow and like for more events.